निवासिनि विष्णुविलासिनि जिष्णुनुते.
Are you hiding from the law or from the long arm of academia? How old are you?
I am 18 years old.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I have been a big fan. I first watched your video. I've been following you for quite a time, so when
yeah,
you had, 1K follower.
yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And I always knew that, you'd become big. And even more bigger you'll become in future. But I have
Thank you.
one question,
Hmm.
my uh, in my so there are I'm going to pursue law.
Okay.
I'll be joining GLC Mumbai. So I have this fear right now.
Hmm.
Ki, as you have stated earlier, that in your defund, sociology podcast and everything,
Yeah.
I've been listening to you for a long time,
Hmm.
and you have always this thought that because sociology doesn't serve Indian society that well, because
Hmm.
they don't, it's not inherently Indian or Indic as you have mentioned
Yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
So I've always this, because in law you have to study sociology,
Hmm.
because once you know about the society of India, then
Yeah.
practice the law of India, and that's it.
Right.
So I have this, most of the teachers are leftist communists.
Yeah.
So how to go on about it? Like, do you have any suggestion? I'm just asking as
Yeah.
as suggestion wise, because you're most like you're intellectual, and how to go on about it.
I am not an intellectual, okay? I'm a curious guy with a great Wi Fi. So I have moved away from the position of demanding defunding sociology because then I'm not going to ask for a ban of sociology anyway, because that leaves that's such a slippery slope for the government to ban anything that we can't take that route. So what happens if you defund sociology? Only rich people who are anyway detached from society go on reading commie stuff in private colleges. So we can't have that as well. So what the mysterious sociologist said in our live streams, that is, I think, a better solution, that you don't need to open sociology departments in each and every colleges all across the country, where you pay teachers to teach kids who are not going to pursue sociology, who don't understand any terminology of sociology, who are better off being farmers, and not as a derogatory term. You have to produce food. What the fuck are we going to eat? So
Yeah.
teach sociology in very specific institutions with clear-cut goals, with clear-cut problem-solving mentality. That's all. Not for any random stuff. And especially, I think in that section, in that field about not having anti-India goals, that's going to be heading to good things anyway, a good direction anyway, because so many FCRA licenses have been cancelled that incentive structures to hurt India are going to dry up pretty soon. And if the government who have a large amount of say, who have the complete say over who becomes a senior professor or a HOD in any college university, if BJP and RSS, who have not yet, I think, started using their brains, if they start using their brains and put up people who don't have that far left commie view, which BJP even doesn't even agree with, at least in some college and universities, if they put such people at the top of these departments, then of course we'll see results very soon. But first of all, we have to cut down meaningless sociology classrooms in every village classroom. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also have one more question, which I'm very confused about. Very confused about, because I'm figuring out these stuff, right?
Yeah.
Figuring out Hindutva, figuring out Indic wing, because these stuff are new
Yeah.
to me and new to my parents and everyone.
Yeah.
Earlier they were, I mean, they are Hindus, of course, but they've never thought about in an academic way of Indic wing, as we are
Yeah.
being taught something wrong or something of that way.
Yeah.
So my question is that, when I'll be reading stuff, I have been reading stuff, you, uh, you definitely encounter some things which are very unpleasant.
Yeah.
Like, Dalits being butchered, Dalits being discriminated like anything.
Yeah.
And these things have happened,
Yeah.
right? Like, you have also mentioned it clearly, explicitly, that
Yeah.
these things have happened.
Yes.
Although, you have also attributed that the caste system itself is not only formed by Brahmins, but is a congregation of all the caste, all hierarchy,
Yeah.
all caste contributing, to
Hmm.
that I'm great or something of that sort.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, but you will encounter such stuff.
Hmm.
And in that moment, like, how to go on about it? Like the typical JNU guy, typical law guy would clearly, use these points.
Yeah.
Okay, the Dalits were butchered, the Dalits were murdered, the Dalits were not allowed in their own temples. How do you expect them to pray to the gods when they were not allowed in their temples?
Yeah. So, first of all, whether you agree or not with that persecution, that should be an enough an answer for the JNU commie guy. Are you a person who says that yes, they were great things? Brahmins were absolutely right to do that, and therefore it should go on. If you say that, then of course there's a big problem with Hinduism. There's a big problem with you or anything you follow. But you are not saying that. You are saying that either you are saying that yes, those bad things happened, and I don't condone them. I don't want those things to happen anymore. Or you are saying that those bad things were bad things, but they didn't really happen as much as you say they had. So what can we conclude from here? That you are not defending those things anyway. If they say that because that thing was a bad thing and that was the only thing apparently happening in the entirety of the country, that can't be an argument, because every society has some bad things going on. And besides, our value systems change. Our value systems change. What we consider justice today, what we consider injustice today, is all based on the convenience of today. Okay. Because let's say in an ideal futuristic world, we consider that veganism is a great thing, and therefore we start criticizing every meat eater person in the history of humanity. How can that work? Is a black person today happier in USA? And should we give the credit for that to George Washington, who was a slave owner? Where would that JNU PhD go to study?
Yeah.
In USA or Africa? So there might be problems and flaws in every human, and in every human institution, in every human society. So what would be that ideal flawless society that the JNU PhD or JNU commie is proposing? He cannot give any example of any such society.
So you are like, sir, you are telling that it's perfectly okay to accept that there were flaws,
Yes.
and to not defend some things and to
Yes.
move on.
Yes.
Say that, yeah, I don't agree with it. It's not compatible with today's society. I move on with it.
And
And
besides, the only reason they don't know so many flaws about all other societies is because all other societies have gone to hell. You don't know what kind of brutalities were going on in Native American society because there is nothing to study about Native American society. Latin American, who the fuck knows what the Incas were doing? We know they were doing human sacrifices, but we don't talk about them all the time
Exactly.
because they don't exist even anymore. So we have 5,000, 6,000 years of data to complain about when it comes to Hinduism. So there it's sort of a good problem to have. It's a champagne problem, but it is a problem. But all that matters is whether you defend it today or not. Even a casteist, if he says that yes, it is a bad thing, but we didn't do those bad things back then, even then he's a good companion to have. Only problematic person is someone who says no, they were good things that those persecutions happened, and we are going to go on doing that even today if we come to power. That's the
Yeah.
only problem. Only those people
And
are the
one
problem.
thing, one of my favorite videos of yours
Hmm.
is yours about Saint Xavier's, the molestation case or something of that sort.
Yeah.
And in that video, you were profound, I would say, because first I had this thinking before reading Savarkar,
Hmm.
that a usual conservative Hindu guy.
Hmm.
I listened to your videos first, and you were supporting Hindutva, you were supporting Savarkar,
Yeah.
and so I thought, okay, he's a conservative guy. Then I listened to that video, and
Hmm.
it was like a change of heart for me.
Hmm.
Like, oh my god, it's a very progressive thought that you presented in that video.
Hmm.
And then I started reading Savarkar, and I got to know that how liberal of a philosophy
Yeah.
Hindutva is.
Yeah. Exactly. We
Exactly.
we liberals, we people who are brought up in the anglicized families, we are perfectly comfortable in the Hindutva fold because of people like Savarkar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And do you see a scope that Hindutva, upcoming days,
Hmm.
of course, the movement will definitely, increase. It
Hmm.
will further expand in West Bengal,
Yeah.
more in South, and it will increase
Yeah.
even abroad. Even
Yeah.
NDA, the National Democratic Alliance, today
Hmm.
has announced that if it win,
Yeah.
it will start forming coalition abroad, like how commies have their all international
Yeah.
and stuff. So BJP will be doing that. In
Hmm.
Nepal, they have already formed their Nepal Janata Party,
Yeah.
so they will be doing that in
Yeah.
abroad as well. So I think, do you see a scope that Hindutva will align itself to feminism. Hindutva might align itself to LGBTQ.
Yeah.
Do you see a scope in that being more liberal
Hmm.
or more inclusive of that matter? Now it's very inclusive. Now
Yeah.
it's even inclusive of several castes, Dalits,
Yeah.
scheduled tribe. RSS is doing. My father is a RSS guy, and
Okay.
he's been working with Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram,
I see.
who works with scheduled tribes,
Okay.
and an RSS wing of Vanvasi Kalyan
Right.
Ashram. They work with scheduled tribes, and they have done phenomenal job in
Yes.
Northeast and in Chhattisgarh.
Yes.
Like you go to the schools in Chhattisgarh,
Yeah.
and those people are like Ram Bhakts,
Yes.
Adivasis. They have their
Yes.
own renditions of Ramayana. They have
Yeah.
their own renditions of God, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing what RSS is doing. And in Karnataka, you know that there's a Siddhi tribe. That's a
Yeah.
predominantly Muslim tribe.
Hmm.
And Vanvashi Kalyan Ashram, they literally represented those tribes.
Hmm.
And BJP elected an MLC from that tribe to in Karnataka Assembly.
Okay.
It's a remarkable job they are doing. But my
Yeah.
question was that.
Hmm.
And
That.
thank you so much for taking time. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So your question is that should is Hindutva going to go on accommodating everyone?
Not everyone, but does it have a scope to accommodate? Because right, many trads have also come in this Hindutva fold, right?
Yeah.
Like I've also seen that in
I
Twitter. You
think
will
trads
see
are
an
fast quitting the Hindutva movement because they are seeing
yeah,
how.
they're quitting it. They are quitting
Yeah.
it. They are
Yeah.
openly now declaring that we are not going to vote for BJP.
Yeah.
It's happening in Gujarat today with
Hmm.
Rajputs announcing that we will not vote for BJP because they
Yeah.
have not announced any candidate. So
Yeah.
the unity bit goes to anything. And
Yeah.
Assam, it's also kind of happening. The home nationalist and everything. They
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
not aligning with Bengali Hindus.
Exactly.
So it is. I mean, majority of them do align but a home nationalist, of course, Ulfa and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, mathematically speaking, at the moment, you must remember, you must feel happy knowing that whoever is quitting the Hindutva movement because they think Hindutva is not enough for this country is basically part of an ideology which is absolutely numerically irrelevant at the moment. Okay, I am a libertarian, but if I today quit the Hindutva movement and criticize it all the time because it's not libertarian enough, it means that libertarianism is numerically absolutely insignificant and negligible of a minority. So, if at all a situation comes that these people are able to hijack Hindutva, let's say the bad people. By bad people, I don't mean all trads. Anyone who follows traditions still may not behave badly towards a lower caste person. So there are, I guess, bad trads and good trads even. But you have to remember what is the core essence of this country. BJP is not a fascinating brand new party with a brand new ideology. BJP is basically the Congress that would have happened with Vallabhbhai Patel in power or Shyama Prasad Mukherjee in power. That is the core essence of BJP, and
Yeah.
you must remember that even today the majority of the population of this country is not even voting for BJP. So it's a long shot that anyone who thinks they are going to go right of BJP or Hindutva and still going to be any kind of a significant voice, they absolutely don't understand mathematics or this country.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
And feminism, like,
Feminism feminism is a bigger thread because feminism is a double-edged sword here. So first of all, we have appropriated or feminists would say that we have misappropriated feminism to a large extent, and we have been successful at it because of people like Nupur J Sharma, Smriti Irani, all the countless goddesses we have. So BJP Hindutva feels pretty at home with strong females, strong women.
and women love Modi ji. Like
Exactly.
dadis, aunties, they love Modi ji.
Yeah. Now, where does this coalition with women who are strong, independent, powerful women spill over to actual crazy feminism? There, I think there is a significant concern because the arguments against feminism are not really that clear in the minds of most people even today. Because the one reason I think there might be a saving grace, because most feminists are aligning with absolute anti-India, anti-Hindu forces and transgenderism, etc. Therefore, a lot of people who would have agreed to first wave, second wave feminism might be turned away from feminism today. Therefore, we may not have all the craziness of feminism in Indian politics in the near future. But if that does not happen, if even right-wing women keep on imbibing the values of feminism that comes from even third-wave feminism, but they just maybe don't accept the transgenderism part, but all the other aspects of feminism, that is thinking of men as an evil, vile thing. If that happens, then we are in big trouble. I think it might be a long shot only because feminists themselves are screwing things up. So right-wing feminist women might not
Yeah.
be that happy with those feminists, and therefore they'll be turned away from the feminist movement as a whole.
And the hating man part is also like a very minority of it. Only the elite women do it.
Yeah,
India didn't have a first wave of feminism. Only the feminism we
yeah,
see is elite women working in corporate offices demanding menstrual paid leave.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Our
no
our
one
first
speaks
wave
of women
feminism.
workers.
Yeah,
Women workers working in fields and stuff. No one speaks for them.
yeah.
Not even these elite people.
No, they would argue that therefore redistribute all the wealth among the women who are working in the fields. They have their solution.
And
Our
also,
first wave.
one more point I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
is that question
Hmm,
basically. So the JNU guy, the normal PhD, commie guy,
hmm,
would say like we. Let's be honest.
hmm.
I and you are general, right? From general category.
Yeah.
So the person would say, "Ki, how can you present? You are presenting your perspective,
Hmm,
right? You can't speak as a Dalit. You
yeah.
can't speak as a Adivasi.
Hmm,
You can't speak some of the extremely backward castes. I'm not talking about OBC, the
yeah.
dominant OBC
Right.
Yadavs and stuff. They are fairly privileged. They just LARP as OBC and stuff.
Hmm.
So, and you can't speak for their experience, and it is true to an extent.
It is not true to an extent because you can't go down that route because they'll say that you can't say your card is fucked up just because you don't have a mechanical engineering PhD.
I mean, not that part. Of course, like it's saying like no uterus, no opinion by
Yeah, basically.
feminists.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
they can't be allowed to have that opinion at all.
opinion, yeah, at all.
Yeah.
No, but my point is that like it's in my gaon, in my village,
Hmm.
the discrimination kind of still happens,
Right.
and it's so ingrained in the minds
Hmm.
that I only came to know this, that gawar word, the
Hmm.
gawar word we use
Hmm.
is actually a caste,
Hmm.
and we are
Hmm.
using it.
Yeah.
So, and these things does boggle my mind, that how can we expect these people to be you know
Yeah,
Hindus
and
and stuff, and
notice that this language where we can find little evidences of casteism, that even happens in religions and languages where you think casteism doesn't exist. What is the term for a non-Muslim? A jahil. Who do we really call a jahil
yeah.
otherwise? So,
And in
um,
Pakistan, even the Indian Muslims who
yeah,
came to Pakistan,
yeah.
they had a very bad term, mujahir.
Actually,
That's what
muhajir has a different meaning. I learned from this Ramakrishna Mission explanation of Prophet Muhammad's words. Muhajir actually means a person who came from a distant land to the land of basically peace and Islam. So I don't know how they conjured their own meaning of muhajir. Muhajir is actually meant to be a good thing, that you are so dedicated to Islam that you went to a land of peace, land of Islam. So in Bengali, there's a derogatory term called Kyaura. That you are basically a chapri niba, okay? Kyaura is actually a caste. It's actually a jati and a lower caste
Yeah,
jati.
yeah,
So,
it happens.
so if you can't talk about anything in relation to Dalits just because you are upper caste, so does that mean now you can't even talk about their oppression that you are seeing in your own villages because you are upper
Exactly.
caste?
Yeah.
So where does the line get drawn? What can you speak of if you are an upper caste?
Basically, they want us to speak that okay, we did it, we are wrong.
That is what
Now
you are saying
Dalits have an
anyway,
upper hand.
right?
Dalits have an upper hand. They should be given everything. They have every right to bash us. They have every right to criticize us. They have every right to tell that Brahmins and all these castes should be annihilated. Their wealth should be distributed.
Fair enough.
They want
For
this.
for how many generations? What would be
Yeah,
their
exactly.
argument? Yeah, that is the point. Because
That
we
I
know
can't
that
say.
most people's
Like,
genealogies are all made up bullshit.
I
How do
mean,
you know I was not a
this
Kshatriya
I
someday?
had though a pretty strong debate from a person.
Yeah.
I said that yes, discrimination has happened. This has happened, but we have good affirmative actions program. We have
Hmm.
now started. People are being aware that this has happened. This was wrong, and all this.
Yeah.
They have the clear point. You are no one to speak. You
Hmm.
are a savarna. You are a
Hmm.
savarna. How can
Yeah.
you speak about
Tell
it?
them fuck you.
You
I'll
have, you have never
speak harder.
experienced that. You have never
Do not
felt the
concede that
disgust
point.
of not going into temple.
Yeah.
You have not felt the disgust of not being touched. You have not felt the disgust. They would say this, and emotionally it does hit you, right?
The
Emotionally
person who
it
is
does.
telling you also hasn't felt any of those things. How did he end up in JNU?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Even he hasn't felt those things. He's also an upper caste Bengali
Yeah, yeah,
farming.
yeah. He's an upper caste Brahmin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does he
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Maybe if someone has actually felt untouchability, maybe they want free markets to come in so that he can be richer than all these Brahmins. I have actually faced racism. No Bengali has actually faced racism. I studied in a school which had 90% Nepalis and who were fair skinned. So I got bullied and beaten up for being dark skinned and a Bengali. And I'm friends with all Bengali, all Nepalis. And I think racism is a weird thing, but Nepalis don't need to be treated as an enemy. So you can never guess what exactly the person will feel who has actually faced those oppressions. So let's not jump to conclusions and never concede that point that you can't talk about it just because you are a Brahmin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I also see these Instagram pages of talking about Dalit history and stuff.
Yeah. Fair enough.
They
Dalit
would
history is Indian history.
Indian history, exactly.
Yeah.
And they would take small points. They took one of the lines from Bhagavad Gita and they said ki now Hindutva has a new book, Bhagavad Gita, because it's written Chatur Varniyam wala slok that people can interchange their caste and stuff. But they took some of the slokas and said that these people won't understand that it also hurts us.
Yeah.
And
But
then
who is following that?
Yeah, who's following that? No one.
Even if Lord Krishna has said it, we are not following it.
Yeah.
And
So
who
you
wants to
are-
follow it? They are not in the Hindutva movement.
So, sir, you are proponent of the fact that we can sort of remove or not revitalize, like devitalize stuff which are not important in today's society.
Yeah, because we as a people, as a general populace, we don't
Yeah.
think based on theories. If we thought only on the basis of theories, no Hindu king would ever side with Muslim kings or British. We are an
Yeah.
experiential identity wala people. Now, at the moment, there is no incentive or convenience that we can feel out of following the oppressive or birth-based caste system. So we are not going to follow it.
जय जय हे महिषासुर